Ugh, sorry. I gotta stop watching so much Star Wars. Ugh. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Since it's Saturday, I want to continue my tradition of reviewing two movies. I went to actually see two movies today, back to back. Um, the movies that I went to see, first one was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the remake, starring Ben Stiller, who wrote and directed it. Uh, there it is, my ticket stub for that. Secret Life. And I also saw Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Amy Adams, written and directed by Spike Jonze. I think you can see that, Her. Anyway, let's talk about The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Okay, this is, of course, a remake based on the short story. Okay, there was a 1947 version, to star Danny Kaye and Virginia Mayo. I saw a real big fan of that one. Um, um, but this one, Ben Stiller, he plays Walter Mitty, and it's basically kind of the same story. He's a daydreamer, and who's never been anywhere and done anything, and he's a lonely guy. He's trying to talk to a coworker, played by Christine Wiig. She plays Cheryl Melhoff, and he's trying to. They kind of update it where he's on. I think it's not Match. It's not Match.com. It's not Match.com. No, it's not Match.com. It's what's it called? One of the dating sites. I forget which one it is. Anyway, he's trying to send a wink to her. I think it's Match.com. I think it is, but I'll correct it if it's. But anyway, he's trying to send her a wink, but he can't for some reason. It won't. The computer won't let him do it. So he actually calls the company, and they basically they explain to him that he hadn't filled out the profile, and that he's never been there, never done anything. And like I say, he has these daydreams where he's actually talking to Cheryl, his coworker, who he wants to talk to and get to know. But of course, he does a little daydream where he kind of phases out and stuff and has these adventures. But the main thrust of the movie, this one, they update the setting. He works at Life magazine, and of course, Life magazine, as the magazine is being phased out, it's going to be Life.com. So, and Walter works in the photo setting division in the basement, where he gets photos, and he has to basically put up for the magazine. And they have a famous photographer played by Sean Penn that he actually talks to, and he actually gets he sends all his photography he sends all of his photos to him to put in the magazine, and they're missing actually a photo 25 that's supposed to be for the cover. Okay, but of course for some reason he can't find it. Okay, it's missing. So with Cheryl's help, he tries to try to locate this photographer, but of course he's one of these guys that's off the grid all the time, always out there shooting expensive shots. So he's never there. So he has to backtrack and try to find out where this guy is. So basically he comes out of a shell to actually hunt this guy down, which takes him all over the world. Okay, and at the same time, he still has these fantasies about his co-star, his co-worker Cheryl. And let me just say, I really enjoyed this movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, by Ben Stiller. Like I said, first of all, it's beautifully shot. I mean, the location shots and the places that they go are absolutely breathtaking. Okay, and this movie has a sweet, sweet charm to it, because basically Walter, like I say, he's never been anywhere, never done anything, and basically he's kind of forced to get out of the shell, to hunt this guy down. And basically he does go on adventures to, like I said, they changed it from the way the 1947 version was, where that version was more of he gets involved in the real world with more it was more bad guys, good guys type thing. This one, he's basically on this quest to find this photographer, Sean Penn's character, to find that missing, photograph that they need for the final issue of Life magazine. And like I said, his experience is going all over the world and stuff. And basically, and Cheryl is a big part of that, even though she's not physically there with him, because he calls back to her, and he actually even sees her. And there's a great sequence, which I don't want to spoil, where she kind of inspires him to go an extra mile to get to find Sean Penn's character. And it's like I said, it's a beautifully shot movie. And Ben Stiller, who I'm a big fan of, has a certain charm too, as Walter. When he's trying to hunt down this photographer and he's going all over to find it. And of course, he still has these daydreams. And there's a great sequence that you see in the trailer. You see the one where he runs, I think, and jumps into the building. And then there's another one that I think you see in the extended trailer where he's fighting with his asshole boss, played by Adam Scott. And it leads to a really great sequence that you have to see to believe. And like I said, the locations that he goes to, to hunt this guy down and to get this photograph, absolutely beautiful. I think he goes to Greenland, even Iceland, and it's absolutely beautiful. And like I said, Ben Stiller has crafted a really beautiful, and I like that he did a different take than the 1947 version. Okay, that was more, like I said, played more to Danny Kaye's strength, which was the slapstick thing and the hero worship thing, and in this one, it's basically Walter coming out of his shell to go somewhere and experience things that he's never done before, to get this thing done. Like I said, he still has this, the fantasy thing of wanting to, wanting to get to know Cheryl, but that's not the main focus of this movie. It's him trying to break out of his shell and taking a chance and going the extra mile and experiencing life. Basically getting out into the world, and it's a really good, sweet movie. And I'm going to give this movie a 7.5. I said Ben Stiller wrote and I think he co-wrote it and directed it, and it's a beautiful movie, absolutely beautiful, and absolutely one of the a really good movie. I have to say thank you, Ben, for doing this. I know originally I think I heard that Jim Carrey was supposed to do this with Steven Spielberg, but I think Ben Stiller does a really good job at this, and it's a really enjoyable movie. And Kristen Wiig gives a great support, and even Sean Penn's character, who's not in the movie that much, has a great performance too as well. So definitely highly recommend it. Again, 7.5. Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Definitely, I would recommend you go see it. Now, the second movie that I'm going to talk about is Her. This movie is written and directed by Spike Jonze, who I'm a big fan of. I know he did Adaptation, which I really love that movie with Nicolas Cage. He also did what's the one with John Cusack and I can't remember the other. I can't remember. Being John Malkovich. That's the movie. Anyway, Her stars Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams, and Scarlett Johansson. It's basically the story about a lonely writer. He writes for I think a greeting card company. It's supposed to be set in the near future, a little bit far in the future. And he actually writes, he works for a company that he writes actually cards for individualized cards for people. That's the best way to say it. And he's really, really good at it. But he's lonely because he's separated from his wife, and who's they're in the midst of a divorce, so he's lonely. And you even see they even show a little bit scene in the beginning of the movie where he basically tries phone sex, and he's a lonely guy. But he finds out on the way to work one day that they have this new operating system, where it's personalized, where you actually can plug it in and you give it a few instructions about your life and stuff, and then it actually starts talking to you, and you can make it be a male or female voice. Of course, he makes it a female voice, and the voice, of course, in this movie is Scarlett Johansson, and basically he starts to have a relationship with her. And let me say, this movie is probably one of the best movies I've seen this year, and one of the most romantic movies I've seen this year as well. And Joaquin Phoenix is really good at it, and especially Scarlett Johansson, who you can't physically see, of course, because she's just the voice, of course, but I think this is the best that I've ever, I'd like to say seen her, but the best I've ever heard her act in any movie. And like I said, they start to have a relationship where they talk about everything. They talk about work. She even helps him with his work. They go on walks. They talk in bed, and it's a really sweet movie. And like I said, he's still kind of hung up. He's kind of reluctant at first because he's still really hung up on his soon-to-be ex-wife. About their marriage, how they kind of drifted apart, and he's kind of hung up on her, but Samantha, that's the operating system's name, she starts to learn stuff and starts to develop, and they really literally start to fall in love. And the movie is basically about their relationship, the ups and downs and everything in between. And it's a really sweet, sweet movie. And I have to give Spike Jonze credit, because this is, like I said, one of the most romantic movies. And I know people say it's romantic. It's a guy in an operating system, but you have to see it to believe it. And as I'm telling you, it's really, really, really sweet and a really great love story. And like I said, Joaquin Phoenix gives a great performance, as does Scarlett Johansson. You know, you can't see her, but the emotion in her voice, she gives a really great performance in this movie. And I don't know if they will nominate her, because I don't know how the Academy rules work, or can you nominate a voice? But she played her part exceptionally well. You feel every emotion that she speaks and that you hear, and you believe their relationship. Like I said, it has this twists and turns and ups and downs in their relationship. And also you have Amy Adams there. She's like his kind of best friend, who they talk, and they know since college, and they talk about things and stuff. So, and she gives a decent performance. But this movie is Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. Like I said, it's a really sweet, sweet love story. Like I said, it's one of the best movies I've seen this year, and it's really, really sweet. I love the music in here, and the way this was, you know, the whole cinematography in this movie. Like I said, it's supposed to be set in the future a little bit, and the way they film it, it's has kind of a certain tone to it. I don't know if I'm describing this right, but it's a really, really sweet, sweet movie. And like I said, Joaquin Phoenix, really good performance, and Scarlett Johansson, excellent. And like I said, you just hear her voice, but she conveys so much emotion with it. And like I said, they have their ups and downs and stuff, and I don't want to spoil what happens in the course of their relationship, but you have to see this movie to believe it. I definitely would highly recommend this movie. One of the best movies I've seen this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if this movie gets nominated for Best Picture of the Year. It's that good to me. And I think Scarlett Johansson will probably get nominated. I don't know what category, maybe Best Actress. I think she was that good, even though you just hear her voice. You don't see her physically. I think she was that good. And I don't know, Joaquin Phoenix, I know this year the field's kind of crowded with actors, but I thought he was just as good as well. So I don't know if they're going to nominate him as well. But I think they all deserve Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Picture, and Best Director. Just really, really sweet movie, and I can highly recommend it. I would give, again, I would give a 9 out of 10. One of the best I've seen this year. I would definitely see this movie, okay, before it leaves the theater. It's really, really sweet, and it really did touch me. That's how much I can't rave about it anymore. But definitely go see it. And again, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, I give it a 7.5. It's one of the most beautifully filmed movies, and Ben Stiller has a certain charm to him in this movie. And like I said, the cinematography is absolutely beautiful in that. And again, this movie is Secret Life of Walter Mitty is mostly about him, you know, breaking out of his and going somewhere and experiencing life. And then of course that gives him confidence and that, you know, and also with the assistance of Cheryl, you know, it's really, really good. So I definitely highly recommend those movies. 7.5 for Secret Life of Walter Mitty. A 9 for her. Go see them. This is Trepacer saying so long and take care.